So we have, this is a group of people, and Alton and Jordi will be explaining a little bit more about this, but this is the University Collaborative Group, known as UNITWIN, the MILID partnership. And so we're going to talk a bit about what's going on in our respective regions with media and information literacy. I have a short video I'm going to show you first. Okay. So let's take our trip around the world and begin in France with Unesco and Alton Grizzle.
Thank you so much, Sherry. And good afternoon, everyone. Sounds a little bit weak. Good afternoon, everyone. So I like speed dating, as Sherry said. We're going to be going very rapidly. And usually I have too much to say, so I'm going to stick to the script. But what you're seeing here on stage is a demonstration of a global movement on media and information literacy. Because we have all 5 continents of the world, based on the UNESCO's configuration of the world, represented on the podium. And so I'm going to be taking you through a couple of slides very rapidly, and just to demonstrate some of the work that UNESCO is doing around the globe. So the first slide, very importantly, as experts and practitioners, if we do not agree on some common competencies on media and information literacy, if we continue to debate and create more new terms, we'll have another 40 years of staying on the margins of education. And so to answer that, Unesco has developed a model media and information literacy curriculum. It's a comprehensive curriculum available in about 15 different languages, and is developed with adaptation in mind. We need a common curriculum to drive media and information literacy for all. Complementary to curricula, we need policies. We need national policies. I was just coming from a section where we were discussing whose prerogative it is to integrate media and information literacy in the classroom. Is it the teacher, the principal, the school board, the state, the minister? We need national policies, and UNESCO have developed guidelines to support that. If we're talking about media and information literacy in education, we need to talk about assessment. How we're going to measure the impact of media and information literacy on citizens, and how we're going to measure the country readiness of media and information literacy. UNESCO has developed a global framework. We also see the role of media organizations as important in promoting media and information literacy outside of the classroom, and so we have developed guidelines for broadcasters to promote media and information literacy. I started by saying we need to create a global movement. It's a global movement that will create change so that policymakers and development partners will start listening to the experts saying that media and information literacy is important. This is what GAPMIL is about, and you'll be hearing more about GAPMIL. I want to end my date with you very rapidly with this quote from Winston Churchill that says, "All great things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word: freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, and hope." Media and information literacy may be complex, but it's also very simple. It can be summed up in very simple words such as truth, freedom, equality, accuracy, access, dialogue, peace, justice, ethics, and shall I end with love, or is that too far-reaching? What would you add?
Thank you. Working? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so dear colleagues and friends, it's an honor for me to be here today with all of you. This is my fourth NAMLE conference. The first one was 12 years ago in Baltimore. I truly congratulate NAMLE for the energizing and inspiring work that you're all doing over the years, and for giving us the opportunity to meet every 2 years, exchange ideas, and expand our media literacy networks. I am so energized by the work that you are all doing. Congratulations, really. You all deserve a round of applause. The United Nations Alliance of Civilizations is a fairly new UN initiative working on intercultural dialogue and identity-based violence prevention. Our approach to media and information literacy is with the understanding that a media literate individual will be better prepared to live and shine in a multicultural society. That media literacy is in fact a platform towards the better understanding among people from different cultural and religious backgrounds. That media literacy is part and parcel of concepts such as civic education, global citizenship education, and culture of peace. In January 2008, when the Alliance of Civilizations organized its first forum, we presented the first version of a clearinghouse that we developed on media literacy. The current version, developed in collaboration with Unesco, is the first link that you see on the slide. This clearinghouse is open to user-generated content. It's full with links that will bring you to many media literacy resources in many languages. It is the first such site in Arabic, for example. We invite you to register and to upload your own resources and information. Please share your knowledge. We invited many media literacy experts in that 2008 forum. We wanted to develop a global network of practitioners. After the presentation, several universities approached us with the idea of creating a network of universities working on media literacy. We liked the idea very much and approached UNESCO with that request. The presentation that you're seeing today is in many ways the result of that first conversation we had in Madrid in 2008. We're very pleased to see this network developing and strengthening with a commitment towards ensuring that media and information literacy becomes part of the core curriculum of schools across the world. In 2009, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration, we launched another media literacy-related initiative, the Plural Plus Youth Video Festival on Migration, Diversity, and Social Inclusion. I believe that you all have Plural Plus DVD on your conference package. Please use it these youth-produced videos as part of your formal and informal educational practices when discussing youth media, social inclusion, human rights, globalization, etc. With the support of Renee Sherrock O'Leary, we have developed educational discussion guides on Plural Plus videos. Please visit the second link of the slide, and you can download them in English, Spanish, French, and Arabic. And finally, I would like to call your attention to another resource that we have developed in partnership with Unesco, the Media and Information Literacy Curriculum for Teachers. To ensure that educators are well informed about MIL, UNESCO developed a curriculum to teach the teacher. The third link of the slide will bring you to an interactive version of that curriculum. Although the site is not 100% completed yet, it will give you the opportunity to already explore and experience this very relevant resource. I will be around for the rest of the conference. Please feel free to approach me with any questions or ideas you may have. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Katarina Bucht from the International Clearinghouse on Children, Youth and Media, based at Nordicom, University of Gothenburg in Sweden. And today is the official launch of the third MILID yearbook, published by the Clearinghouse and Nordicom. With its 31 articles, authors from almost 20 countries, it's a true showcase of media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue, I think. And this and the previous editions of the yearbook can be found on the Nordicom website, which you can see the address on the screen. Mm-hmm. And I hope you will visit the website and take a look at the book. And there is also a display copy outside on a table, and I would ask you, please leave it on the table. But you can find flyers, and as I said, you can access the publication on the website. Thank you.
I just want to mention that you can download the entire book as a PDF. It's available on the website, and so there's copies, PDF, and multiple ways for folks to get access to it. And there are a number of people in the room who have articles in it.
Yes, and also individual chapters. You can download them. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carolyn Wilson, the chair of the Global Alliance for Partnerships on Media and Information Literacy, or GATMIL. And on behalf of GATMIL, I would like to thank Sherry and the organizers and the NAMLE organization for hosting and organizing this wonderful event and for bringing us all together. I think this kind of event is really unique, and Sherry mentioned that this morning, that it's an opportunity for classroom teachers, for researchers, for academics, for media professionals to come together and to exchange ideas and have the chance to connect and have some conversations. So I think it's really a great opportunity, and I know that members of the International Steering Committee who are here with me certainly agree with that. When I'm at events like this, and I've been to several NAMLE conferences, I always think that these events are representative of the past and the future. For me, they represent the past because it's at times like this I'm reminded of the work of people, leaders in the field who have come before us, some of whom will be recognized this afternoon for their contributions and their work during the awards ceremony. But those people have influenced our work and shaped the field, and I think we still feel their presence, whether they're here or not, at conferences like this one. And it also reminds me of the future, though, of course, because it's during meetings like this where we find inspiration, right, in those conversations and the opportunities to connect with people perhaps working across the city or across the country or across the world. And in my experience, some of those conversations and collaborations have the potential to certainly change one's work and even one's life, personally and professionally. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I'm going to take another couple of minutes to talk more specifically about GATMIL, to share a little bit of background information on that, and just to offer a reminder of a session taking place tomorrow morning related to that. And then we will continue with the reports and announcements from the university network. So first of all, about GATMIL. GATMIL was launched in June 2013, so we are celebrating our second anniversary, or we are 2 years old, our second birthday. So this was launched in Nigeria, and it's an initiative that was really started by Unesco, and many of the leaders from Unesco and UNAOC who are with us today. And the purpose really was to broaden the reach and the impact of media and information literacy initiatives that have already been happening around the world, to broaden the reach of UNESCO initiatives that Alton and Jordy have referred to already, and to really work with other partners to help to advance the field. And I think that in many ways GATMIL is really quite groundbreaking as an initiative, because it really is promoting international cooperation first and foremost, to ensure that all citizens have access to critical information and media and digital literacy skills. Organizations from over 80 countries thus far have joined GATMIL and have agreed to stand together to help advance the movement and to stand together really in critical solidarity in support of media and information literacy. Regional chapters of GATMIL have already been established in Europe, in the Middle East and North Africa, in the Pan-African region, in Latin America, in Asia, and tomorrow morning there's a session here at the conference that's being held to discuss the development of a North American chapter of GATMIL, which will really be a chapter, a subchapter, I guess, because we'll be working in partnership with the chapter from Europe, so that each region, each UNESCO region of the world is represented through GATMIL in a regional chapter. So we'll be partnering with Europe in that regard. So the session tomorrow will explore the possibilities for what can be done for this collaborative concept that will embrace the U.S. and Canada. So we're quite excited about that. But for now, primarily this session is to focus on the International University Network that Sherry already referred to. And I'm going to begin discussion of the network specifically. Each university will share a few announcements. We have a very tight timeline. So a couple of announcements from each university sharing our news and some highlights about our work. And this network is really the research arm of the Global Alliance for Partnerships on Media and Information Literacy. So it falls under the GATMIL umbrella. So my university is part of that. So Sherry's ready. Oh, she's got the clicker in hand. Okay, so we're ready to go. So a little bit of news about Western. So I'm excited to bring this news about some of our developments. Western University is about to launch a new 2-year Bachelor of Education program for teacher training. So anyone enrolling in the program now will be involved in a 2-year program, and this is common across the province of Ontario. So the government has mandated a 2-year program. Western and our Faculty of Education is really seizing this opportunity to highlight initiatives in intercultural dialogue, international education, and media and information literacy. So we're excited about that. So one thing that we're doing in September is launching an international education office. So there'll be information about this online. We're looking at enhancing our courses and programs in media and information literacy, in international education. We hope to encourage exchanges for academics, for scholars, and for students. We hope to and plan to facilitate practice teaching sessions for our students internationally, so outside of Canada and Ontario. We're excited about that. And of course, to enhance our media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue initiatives. The other thing that we're doing in September is beginning a series of MILID days that will take place at the university throughout the year. The first one will be launched in September, so we're excited about that. And it will be linked to our roundtable, our Canadian discussion. We're having the U.S. discussion on a GATMIL chapter tomorrow here in Philadelphia. We'll be having the Canadian version in September in London, Ontario at my university. So excited to begin that discussion as well. And that, you can go just back one more time. Oh, sorry, that's okay. And that discussion, that roundtable, will Sorry. That roundtable will also link to a very exciting celebration for us, which is the 10th anniversary of our National Media Literacy Week. So this is happening across the country. It's not a Western-specific initiative, although we're delighted to be a participant in it. But this initiative, now you can go, thank you, is led by Media Smarts and the Canadian Teachers Federation. And Matthew Johnson from Media Smarts is here. He's sitting over there in the room. So we're delighted to be a participant in that. It's the 10th anniversary for this initiative for us. We're really excited about it. While it was launched in Canada, we now have partners in the U.S. NAMLE has joined. We have partners in Sierra Leone, Australia, Burkina Faso, Singapore, Nepal, the UK, and Brazil. So excited about this national movement that has been taking off and has been growing in media literacy. So these are some of the things that we'll be focusing on at Western this fall. There'll be more information on our website, and you are welcome to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to represent the University of São Paulo at this NAMLE and NAMLE meeting. So far, I have learned from the visits we've done and from the presentations about different ways to engage and to contribute to foster students and teachers' potential to create critical media. Can change the slide. Okay. At my university, this Unitwin network has contributed to bring together a variety of media and information literacy initiatives. At the film department, where I teach, at the communications department, where there is an educommunication undergraduate program, at the School of Education, there are a number of projects that deal with teachers' training, with enriching teachers' film repertoires, with students' creative works. Some of these programs are curriculum-oriented, some of them are extracurricular. Slide. We participate in New Talents, an interdisciplinary university program financed by the federal government that aims to train school teachers. We have a remarkable experience with transversal video workshops, i.e., workshops that put together teachers in different disciplines from physics to languages. Our graduate and undergraduate students direct these workshops. In so doing, they practice sharing knowledge. They not only practice their technical skills, they also develop their critical understanding of the world. Their experience turns into aesthetic form in their creative work. We also follow long-standing non-for-profit independent programs which have achieved remarkable results in terms of turning film into a means of refusing stereotypes. Video nas Aldeias has for the last 20 years taught video making to native Brazilians. Lately, they are competitive in film festivals. Oficinas Kinofórum in the past 15 years have contributed to disseminate the arts of video making in the state of São Paulo peripheric neighborhoods. In an unequal society where the media In an unequal society, programs of media literacy have special relevance because people not only they are invisible in the media. So there are two problems, the problem of learning how to understand the media and learning how to make the media, and learning how to make the media more open to cultural differences. And finally, I hope to see you all next year in Brazil's Global Media Literacy Week.
Good afternoon. I'm Jagtar from India. UNESCO is focusing on 3-4 things under GAPMIL and Millard Partner Universities Network. First is creation of new knowledge. Under this, Punjabi University Patiala has last year awarded 3 PhDs. First is awareness and application of information literacy in select private universities of Bangladesh. That includes collaboration between 2 countries also. Second was resource-based information literacy for resource-based student-centered learning. And third was role of medical college librarians to promote information literacy. And the biggest achievement of this PhD thesis was the development of health information literacy model, which is published in this yearbook on page 54. Secondly, UNESCO is focusing on dissemination of knowledge. Under this program, we have prepared media and information literacy modules for postgraduate programs, and these modules are also published in this yearbook on pages 55 and 56. And Punjabi University has also contributed in the preparation of this Melody Yearbook 2015. I served as a lead editor for this yearbook. And third is capacity building program of UNESCO. Under this program, we have conducted many training programs for researchers and faculty members. And these programs were conducted by University of Uttarakhand, Delhi University, Punjabi University Patiala, and an NGO in the name of 4Media. The next mandate of this GAPMIL and MELOD is networking, collaboration and partnership. Under this program, I have conducted 2 workshops in Bangladesh East-West University. One is Health Information Literacy Workshop, and second is SARC Documentation Center training program on research skills. And Media and Information Literacy University Network of India was also launched in the year 2014. MIL consultation was conducted in New Delhi to prepare a position paper for the Government of India on media and information literacy policy and strategy guidelines. Similarly, now we are planning to launch the GAPMIL Asia Pacific chapter. As far as collaboration and partnership is concerned, we are also planning a session with the help of UNESCO, if Elton agrees, that is South Asian Librarians Conference in Pakistan, which is going to take place in October 2015. So this is briefly what we have done. Actually, this is full decade of achievement. In 2004, in Colombo, Empowering 8 problem-solving model was developed. And in 2014, we have developed another health information literacy model. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Thomas Duran. It is an honor for me to be here representing Professor José Manuel Pérez Tornero and the Autonomous University of Barcelona. Slide, please. As a full member of Unesco's University Network on Media and Information Literacy, our research group on communication and education, the Gabinete de Comunicación y Educación, has worked on several projects and attained important outcomes. 2014 was an important and constructive year for the Autonomous University of Barcelona. Among other gatherings, the Gabinete co-organized the first European Media and Information Literacy Forum held at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris in April. The forum brought together experts from different regions who discussed on topics such as media regulation, intercultural dialogue, media industry, copyright, education licenses, etc. One of the major outcomes of this gathering, however, was the issuing of the Paris Declaration on Media and Information Literacy, which acknowledges the huge efforts being made by UNESCO, the European Commission, and researchers from different regions, and which tries to foster collaborative research on media and information literacy, as well as to share good practices being developed both inside and outside the university network. This forum was replicated in Mexico in December 2014. The Autonomous University of Barcelona, as a collaborator of the National Autonomous University of Mexico, organized several activities and workshops. This event gathered representatives from the region, which actively contributed to the organization and high impact of the initiative. As a result of these two conferences, Autonomous University of Barcelona, in association with several partners, launched two observatories on media and information literacy: the European Media and Information Literacy Observatory and the Latin American and the Caribbean Observatory. These observatories are also supported by Unesco. The aims of the observatories are to foster collaboration on research on media and information literacy, serve as a catalog of curated media and information literacy resources, and provide an annual yearbook on media and information literacy good practices. 2015, slide please, has also been a year full of work and different activities related to media education. Early in the year, the Gabinete, as coordinator of the European Commission's funded research project FilmMed, presented a report on the use of films and other audiovisual content in the European schools. This study covered topics including copyright, educational licenses, and teacher training in the whole European Union. Gabinete is now running two local projects called Perspectivas, which in English is Perspectives, and Edu Media Lab. Perspectives started in 2014, running some surveys on the implementation of ICT and the different digital educational tools in Spain's schools, but has recently been extended to Mexico and Colombia. This research is funded by Planeta, one of Spain's largest publishers, and has created a journal offering practical knowledge for teachers and an open source platform. Edu Media Lab, on the other hand, is a national funded research which concentrates on the study of digital platforms for education. It is also intended to be an innovation hub and a place for experimenting new pedagogies and digital tools. In order to do so, the Gabinete has started a series of conferences dealing with the relation between space, time, and education, on the role played by digital technologies in the new educational landscape. Slide. This is to end. Just to give you an idea of what Gabinete is doing, these books shown on the slide symbolize some of the topics upon which we're being publishing in the last 2 years. The first one is the report on film education, which is open access. The second one is in Spanish, but it's are some guidelines to write on the internet, to internet journalism, online journalism. The third one is the collection of perspectives, and the two on the bottom are two journals we are developing. One is, the first one, RGB, on travel journalism and intercultural dialogue, and the second one, that is Focus Ed, which deals with media education and media and information literacy. Thank you.
Chito.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Chido Onuma. I'm from Nigeria. I'm kind of wearing a few hats. I'm the coordinator of the Pan-African Center for Media and Information Literacy. I'm also the chair of the Pan-African Alliance on MIL, which is the African Regional Chapter of GAPMIL. And I'm also working with the university network in Nigeria, which hasn't really taken off properly. There are a number of initiatives in Africa that deal with MIL. You have AfricMIL, which is my organization in Nigeria, Teens World. There's Educomini Africa in Burkina Faso, Center for Media and Information Literacy in Kenya, Curious Minds in Ghana, Young People in the Media in the Gambia, as well as Speak Africa in Ethiopia. As far as MIL is concerned, at the level of AfricMil, we've been doing a lot in the last couple of years. We had the great pleasure to host, Nigeria at this time, not my organization, to host the Unesco conference on MIL in Nigeria 2 years ago, where GAPMIL was launched, and we used the opportunity to form the African chapter of GAPMIL. AfricMil, we've done a number of things. We've had a number of publications, but two big projects we're currently carrying out. There is the Media and Information Literacy MILK, we call it, in secondary schools in the capital city, Abuja. We also have what we call the YTV Africa project. It's a new website we just launched. Because of the landscape and a lot of the challenges in our region, which I'm sure many of us would appreciate, what we've decided to do was to launch these websites and try to see where we can borrow materials, MIL materials from around the world, good practices, but also some of the materials we can develop on our own and put them on this site. So once we identify schools, identify teachers, all they need to do is to go to the website. So you have classes on what's MIL, different aspects, or other things they need to know. There is audio, there is video materials that the teachers can use in working with their students. At the level of PAMIL, we've been able to launch our website, which is www.pamil.info. I would encourage us to go to the site. It's a work in progress. We're continuing the process of mapping MIL organizations in Africa, but also look, with the help of UNESCO, support ongoing country-specific MIL projects across the continent. We're talking with a group in Germany now, the prospects of holding a Pan-African conference on MIL. That way we can really kickstart the process. Specifically in Nigeria, just three issues we're working on. In line with Unesco's guidelines, we're developing a national policy and strategy document on MIL. We're working on introducing MIL in the school curriculum, as well as forming a national coalition. There's been a national consultative meeting in this regard, and the process is ongoing. There is a draft policy document, there is a draft curriculum document. We're hoping that UNESCO would be forthcoming in terms of support to hold another meeting to ratify this document. As I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of challenges, the socioeconomic and political factors on the continent, and also the fact that MIL is a relatively new area of engagement. Finally, I would like to say that MIL can be an instrument for tolerance and cross-cultural understanding in Africa, characterized by so many problems, religious, ethnic, and so on. And we've been working with UNESCO and some of the other partners to ensure that we promote them, not just promote MIL, but also use it as a means of addressing some of these issues. And lastly, one of the things we did was we kickstarted the MIL week before I left Nigeria. We launched the MIL, and one of the things, the major topic of discussion was the issue of radicalization on the internet and the role that MIL can play in this regard. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Paul from China, Tsinghua University. As a host of last year, it's more of a pleasure to us to be here to see this year's meeting. Okay, and right now I want to take a few minutes to talk about what Tsinghua University has done to contribute to the course of promoting the work of media literacy. And during the past few years, our center, that is TICC, has been dedicated to promoting media teaching curriculum compatible at a national level. Last year, we have joined the National Committee of Journalism Course Reform and has implemented a national survey on media education in urban and rural areas in order to encourage the central government to expand media education to a broader level and to encourage the intercultural dialogue among Chinese next generations. In the past 2 years, we have been the pioneer in leading undergraduate students as well as high school students to explore minority cultures and especially pay more attention to surrounding countries on their foot. In the year of 2014 and 2015, we have established 2 separate teams, and including 100 students to experience and write with no any access to the internet or cell phone in Pakistan and Nepal. And we urge them to write a 1,000-word essay based on their 2-week experience in these Southern Asian countries, which they have no pre-knowledge about and had to finish the work without assistance of the internet. This year, we will like to expand our horizons to high school students, and we are planning to go to Mongolia and Russia this summer. Besides concerning the highly commercialized media environment in China, media entertainment rather than factual information has already become the key elements in the journalism in China. So we have established more journalist training and also citizen trainings in the field of public health, medicine, and food safety. And in order to teach normal people to distinguish facts from sensational news, we have also built up a media education part in collaboration with Tencent, the second largest internet company in China, to create a public account which will update news content with regards to media literacy. Last but not least, and recently we have been doing more work to pay more attention to the next generation. We have established a nationwide data visualization competition via social media in China. We believe that children or teenagers should not only act as the recipient of the media education, but also be more active in creating and sharing their views about the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Paulette Carr from the University of the West Indies at Mona. And just to tell you, can you move them next? Yeah. The University of the West Indies, Mona, is part of a 4-campus regional university. So we have campuses in Jamaica, in Trinidad and Tobago, in Barbados, and we have an open campus. Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. At Mona, most of our initiatives in media and information literacy are carried out primarily collaboratively through the Institute of Media and Communication, as well as the Department of Library and Information Studies and the campus library. In the past year, we focused, you could go to the next slide, Cherry, yeah, on a number of research areas, and I'll talk a little bit more about the research later. The campus libraries actually launched an integrative information literacy course, which is supposed to be like a foundation course for the entire university. It's before the Quality Assurance Committee now. The campus libraries also carry out a number of outreach to, say, the police academy, the police school, the school that trains police in Jamaica, are actually asking for MIL. And so the library has actually gone out and done a number of workshops for them. And also in some of the teachers' colleges, and a number of workshops also from the Department of Library and Information Studies to community colleges. In Jamaica as well, we have the University of Technology, and as part of curriculum enhancement, their media center, which focuses on building courses in media literacy, have also done just this last year a very innovative course for teachers of high school students for media literacy. I just wanted to go outside of Jamaica a little just to talk about a college of science, art, science, and technology in Trinidad and Tobago, right, which has just this past year developed part of their curriculum for teacher training for teachers who teach children under 5 years old. They've actually developed part of the Unesco MIL curriculum, and I thought that was noteworthy that they're instilling in children under 5 years old the MIL curriculum. And just to focus on some of the research ideas at Mona over the past year, we've continued to look at a major research study looking at MIL competencies among students who are leaving school. So we have we have looked at the students at the exit levels, so at the grades 6 and at the grade 11 and grade 13, all of those students. 1,200 students we have looked at in 30 schools in the past year, and we're just analyzing the data in more detail. But of importance also, you will see 2 publications, research and publications on MIL coming out of staff members, and we are focusing on that. Okay. And yes, that's just a photo of the outreach, and the next photo just shows outside of the university community, the Broadcasting Commission that's actually moving out into schools and doing outreach in MIL. Thank you so much.
Microphone to June, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Guillermo Orozco from the University of Guadalajara, which is the second public.
My name is Jun Sakamoto. I'm from Hosei University in Tokyo. It's second time to come here for me. In 2011, I come here to join NAMLE conference. I joined Detroit and St. Louis and Philadelphia. Wow. Thank you very much. And I introduced my Hosei University project. Its name is the MIL and ESD project. ESD means Education for Sustainable Development. It's another UNESCO project. And last year, we joined MIL Emirate Unit Twin. And after that, we went to the Ministry of Education in Japan. But the Japanese committee, UNESCO committee, National Committee of UNESCO, focus on only ESD program. So we have to program join new version, MIL and ESD project. And we have to establish a consortium with Education Board and UNESCO Local Association and UNESCO Associated School and Universities, social education facilities, NPOs, companies, and after that we promote MIL and ESD practice and increase UNESCO associated schools and facilitate international exchange practice with UNESCO associated schools in other countries. Why? Benefit. I explain about benefit of the MIL and ESD project. There is over 900 associated UNESCO associated schools in Japan, and 10,000 associated schools around the world. We can introduce the IMR program to the associated UNESCO schools. Second, collaborate with UNESCO local association and the community learning center and public library, local media, etc. And third, especially as a disaster prevention education, we already established the Fukushima Nepal project by exchange video letters. And as a host, we can make the research plan for the grant of Ministry of Education. Money is very important. Thank you very much.
I already said that who I was, so I want to tell you first that I'm in charge of the UNESCO Millet Chair in Mexico, with the responsibility for all Latin American speaking countries. So I have a huge reign to take care of. And I would like to share very briefly why we are why media and information literacy is important for us. For many reasons, obviously, but I'm going to talk about only two, to point out some of the main reasons why. Because we feel that in Mexico, media education before, in the 70s and 80s, wasn't always outside the educational system. And today, the educational system is not taking into account the media and the information literacy. So we need to push the education system to take into account what the students are living outside the classrooms, what they are learning, and their experiences about getting on to be skilled, managing all the gadgets, to be inside the digital world. And this is going to be an effort to design a policy for that. Historically, we in Mexico and most other Latin American countries were working through ONGs with different media education programs, especially with media education, very critical media education projects. But these never go into the educational systems. So we want to reinforce that, but we want to tend some bridges between what is going outside the educational system and outside the classroom, and how can we take advantage of that empirical knowledge most young people are producing in their experiences with each other, with all the peers, so that they get involved as creators of their own efforts to learn and to be literate. And there is also another situation in Mexico and in other countries too, but in Mexico it's very, very important, that we don't have a regulation in favor of the audiences as citizens. We have a regulation in favor of audiences only as consumers, and as we have a private TV systems and a private media system in general, which privileges the development of and the making of money, but not making critical citizens in charge of their communication. So we want, finally, we would like to, we have as a target for our efforts to understand how the transition for being mass media culture center is going to be as in the digital world. How we are going to this transition from one audiovisual culture to another, and what means in terms of what need to be developed to help everybody to become the journey with with success. So we are very proud in my university for having this chair, and we are making alliances with some government and public instances to develop together some proposals to try to design policies. Thank you very much.
So I did want to mention one common research project we have among the group, and just for a moment, and giving you a moment to think of a couple of questions. We have a few minutes before we conclude that we could take some questions from the audience. So the group has been working on a research project to look at media and information, how privacy is discussed in media and information literacy classrooms. So to the extent that teachers from kindergarten through college classrooms, when they talk about topics around media literacy, do they talk about issues around privacy? And if so, what kinds of topics do they discuss? How do they do that? And we're putting together the information. We're getting data from all of these different regions and assembling that, and we'll be putting a report together over the next year. So hope you look forward to that. So we do have a few minutes for questions if anyone has a question for a particular person or the group. I see someone in the back there.
I will be probably.
Esther, do you want to? Is there a microphone? We had. Cheeto, can you give that?
We are starting to plan this week. The idea was just to actually break the news, so you are, and we welcome suggestions. Like if there's anything that you expect, you can say. But this will be a joint week between this university network and the global media literacy program, and maybe Caroline wants to say something.
Happy to. So we're in the midst or in the process of planning that week, obviously, and actually in discussions about it this weekend. So as Esther said, this group will be involved in it, as well as the Global Alliance for Partnerships on Media and Information Literacy, so the University Network and GAP-MIL. And I would invite you to please, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the session tomorrow, but please visit the GAP-MIL forum online, and you can find that if you do a search for GAP-MIL UNESCO. And you'll be able to find information there. We'll be providing updates as information is planned and things fall into place for us. There'll be information posted, and there's also a discussion forum that you can participate in. Should you have any questions or require more information, please use that opportunity to reach out to us as well with suggestions or questions that you may have. Thank you.
And we could say
Jordi has also talked about the Clearinghouse, which is the website for this network, and you can also visit there and see things and post comments. But if you have any idea now of anything that you can go ahead and tell us.
I do want to just say we're hoping to be able to share information about a specific date before the end of the summer. So there should be information coming fairly soon. Yes.
Sorry. Hi. I have a question about environmental sustainability and climate change. There's a UN conference, as I'm sure you know, in Paris in November, and I'm wondering if any of you in your countries are doing specific work around media literacy about the Earth.
I guess that would be no.
In Ontario, there is an organization or a relationship that's established between the Ministry of Education and faculties of education. And I know there are faculties of education that are working on establishing the link between media and information literacy and awareness of climate change issues. That information I would be happy to share with you. It's something that we're beginning to initiate at the faculty through our program at Western in international education, but I know the Ministry of Education, this liaison committee, had that as a specific focus this past year, so I would be happy to share information about that with you.
Also, because the yearbook was around sustainable development, you can give the microphone to Katrina.
You will also find articles towards the end of the yearbook on advancing knowledge societies, environment, health, and agriculture. So there are a few articles addressing this topic in this Malid yearbook.
And next year, the United Nations is also organizing a humanitarian forum in Istanbul in May of 2016, I believe. So from our end, we're bringing media and information literacy as part of the discussion of a humanitarian crisis. Thanks.
Chester.
The project I mentioned, Vídeo nas Aldeias, is a project devoted to training Indians to make videos, and it's a very interesting project to go and see in this respect, because they bring their own traditions, their own ways of facing nature, and I think that's a good connection.
Other questions? Yes, Renee? Well, I think Renee and then, I'm sorry, go ahead. We can do both of them. We'll have time for both. Yeah, we need the microphone, please. Everybody needs the mic.
Reminds me of puberty talking like this. Okay. Do any of the projects, now that the Millennium Goals have passed and sustainability is the new catchword in the next 15, 20 years, are any of the projects going to be in connection with the new goals, the sustainability goals?
I mean, I think that the hope in the yearbook was really. I would point you to this. So the hope with this yearbook was that a great number of the articles that are in the yearbook specifically were looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, the opening articles that are in here from Alton and the foreword and the introductions touch on the sustainability development goals for the millennium and how they were dealt with, and then there's specific articles about projects relating to that. So I think you'd find many things in the yearbook touching on that.
Right, and in addition, this is not a close. Team. It's an open. So if you have a particular suggestion, a particular idea, the programs are developed. It's in development. It's a process, really. So it's not that we're finished with this book. There are other books, our research. So we're really open to hear from you and to bring your ideas, your suggestions to the team, and then further develop it together. So we'll be very pleased to hear your ideas about that.
Yes, Renee.
So I'd like to ask the panel members to offer some frank and candid feedback on the developing legacy of the global media literacy community. When we were in Madrid in 2008, we had a lot of optimism about the possibility of bringing together such a global group, but we also had some trepidation. We knew that we had different definitions for media literacy. We knew that media literacy differs depending on the context and situation, the differences in media systems and in education systems. And as we heard your description of the very impressive work that you are doing within your country, I did notice one noteworthy omission, which is that very few of you talked about cross-national collaboration. Now, in the European Union right now, with the support from Brussels and the European Parliament, there has been an enormous amount of collaboration between and among the countries of the EU. But what are the challenges to cross-national collaboration? Why, in your description of the impressive work that you've done, has there been relatively little initiative that explicitly looks at cross-national collaboration?
Well, thank you. I will pass the microphone. But actually, Unesco provided support of a students' exchange between several of the universities in the network just about a year ago. And perhaps they can further discuss about that, about kind of students from Brazil going to Cairo, students from Barcelona going to Morocco, etc., etc. But I absolutely agree. Actually, we have been discussing in today's meeting the creation of an institution somehow that will really, really support these cross-national boundaries and developing more like a global perspective to it. Even perhaps even having a master's on media information literacy from this global institution that will be recognized by different universities around the world at the same time. So it's a long project. It's a little bit of a, and I agree with you, Renee, that somehow, it feels that we are still in the 1990s, that 20 years later, how much have we advanced. But then I look back and I see that from my perspective, that actually a lot is happening, a lot is being done. But anyway, cross-cultural collaboration is in fact what we're aiming at.
And just to say that, I mean, the point that Renee is making is an important one, and this is why we have started the network. This is why we have started GAPMIL. It's perhaps the biggest challenge about fostering international cooperation. How do we, really achieve the real meaning of a network? And I would suggest that perhaps, we're in the embryonic stage, of refining, that process. And I think it's going to take time, and it's going to take resources. There are some semblance of cooperation happening between universities that persons didn't talk about. As we said, there was an international exchange program for master's and PhD students who are pursuing different courses in media and journalism across the world. We also have cooperation among universities. So there's a lot of work being done between Cairo University and the Autonomous University of Barcelona. A process is starting. We're looking at recognizing that there's need for a sort of a superstructure that curate information and media information literacy globally. And one thing that we're trying to do is to set up an international observatory on media and information literacy, which is going to require more cooperation. In fact, already, as you mentioned in Europe, the European Observatory on Media and Information Literacy was launched. We also launched one in Mexico for the Latin America and the Caribbean. There are about 15 universities who are cooperating to set up this Latin American and the Caribbean observatory. But all of this is in the embryonic stages. It's the beginning stages. And I believe over the next 3 to 5 years, we'll be able to speak more definitively on the cooperation that is happening within the network, within members of the network, and internationally through the Global Alliance.
I think we're... Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that one of the projects that the Alliance has done in the last couple of years is developing a network of media and information literacy in the Middle East and North Africa region. We are about to publish a book in English and Arabic on that topic, and there was an exchange there between the University of Cairo and the Fes University in Morocco. So it's all embryonic. It's just a step-by-step. But I think we are going on the right direction, and that is in the process of developing. And again, hopefully by the next NAMLE conference, we can come to you with some very impressive results of these ideas.
Well, certainly the privacy research that we're working on jointly is an example of that. So we're looking to do more of those. So I appreciate everyone who's come in from all across the globe to join us today, and this concludes our session.